Hi, everybody. Welcome to Mind Your Own Business. I'm Dr. Erin, your high performance business coach, and so happy to be here with you. So we are today we're going to talk about, it's going to sound very dramatic, the State of the Union a little bit. And maybe some things that you've been feeling have been similar to things that I've been feeling. And I thought, as your leader, as your friend, I would just share with you something that I've been exploring this last week that really helped me. And then I have a special guest to chat with us, and then we can open it up. And how this kind of all totally relates to our APL Go business. So I was listening to a Brene Brown podcast this week, and she had Amy Putty on, who's a very well-known researcher. And they were talking about something that they have coined pandemic flux syndrome. And it's not a clinical term, but their social psychologist is called pandemic flux syndrome. And it is this: at the beginning of the pandemic, researchers showed that us humans, we had this surge of energy to kind of fight this fight, and this surge of energy of like, okay, I can do this. And I don't know if you remember, but that feeling, right? And that feeling, even when APL Go started, it was like, I have this surge and like, oh my gosh, this brand new company's here. And then what happens over time, and what has happened, research shows with us humans, is we only have so much what they call surge capacity. And we all thought as humans that our world was kind of going to open up come June, July. And when you looked at the research, we were all very optimistic. And we all reported in this country that we were thriving. And it was because we thought the end was in sight, and the world was going to open up and things were going to get better. And then July 4th came around, and that was what they said was kind of the marker of, we thought like, I'm going to go to 4th of July, experiences, and we're all going to be back together and life's going to be great. And then, the last couple months have happened. And I'm just sharing with you, the last couple months for me have been really difficult, taxing. And I'm like, why is this? And what's happening? And it's this pandemic flux syndrome, and this sense of losing what's in psychology called personal autonomy. It's called a sense of agency, of having control over our lives. And I see some of you nodding, right? And so I just thought, let's talk about this because it's actually happening, instead of just being rah-rah and acting like it's not happening. So then I get on, and I'm in Arate with Ed Milet and Andy Frisella, and they're almost billionaires, and they are talking a lot about how the bottom bonds people. The bottom always bonds businesses. The bottom bonds people. But also what happens in business is when you dig in during times of crisis, difficulty like this, the ones that dig in, right? The ones that say, I'm actually not going to check out. I'm actually going to re-engage. That's where fortunes are made. So we have this dialect, right? We know this, and we're humans, and we're experiencing all these things. And going back to surge capacity, that idea that we only had so much energy that can keep you going for so long, and then you need a break to recharge. That was that idea of like, we kind of thought that was happening in July. In APL Go, we've we're waiting for like everything to get good. And we had a surge at the beginning, and then it's like exhausting. And when are we going to get the customer experience? And at least that's what I've been feeling, right? And how we need this break to recharge, and then we go for it. Okay. That coupled with what's happening in our economic landscape is what they're calling the Great Resignation. And what the Great Resignation of 2021 is, this idea that millions are saying, I quit my job, either for lots of reasons. And the research is kind of showing that the pandemic gave us humans a gift of clarity. And it gave us a gift for the first time in our life to say, how do I want to spend my time? How much do I actually value money? And we realized as humans, collectively, we really like flexibility. We really, really like that. And it made us rethink what makes us happy and where do we want to spend our time. So I sleep with a great philosopher named Garth Oksol. And I have the privilege of bouncing off my ideas with him daily. And I just wanted to invite him here today to share with you what he sees in terms of the state of the union and how it, and I'm just being dramatic, I'm just being silly, but the state of the world and how this creates in his mind an incredible opportunity with APL Go. And then I thought we could talk about that. So Garth, I probably stole your thunder and talked about things, but I just wanted to cue it up with, yes, you've dealt with me in my pandemic flux syndrome. He comes home from Utah. I'm like, I have a name for what I'm experiencing. He's like, oh God, what's it now? So anyways, God bless you, Garth. God bless you.
Woo, Garth,
Yeah.
Oksol, Garth, woo,
So,
woo,
yeah, so Erin,
Garth,
you took a little bit of my thunder. So does anyone have any questions?
Oh, stop it. Stop it.
No,
Just
no.
tell us what your thoughts are and what you learn, because you research all this too.
Yeah, absolutely. So there absolutely is the Great Recession. In fact, with my previous employer, for those of you that don't know on the call, watching this on replay, I started a new job here about 2 months ago. And when I gave notice to my previous employer, that day or the next day, there was an article on LinkedIn that popped up called The Great Resignation. And it was exactly talking about what Erin's talking about, is as people are starting to go back to work and things are kind of starting to open up a little bit, although that ebbs and flows, which gets into what I'll touch on next, is people were coming back to work with a new mindset. During the pandemic, they had a lot of time to think about what excited them, what was their passion, what did they want to do. So Microsoft did a survey of 30,000 people, and they found some common themes in their responses. And some of it was the time off gave people to realize how stressed they were and how burnt out they were in their current jobs. Then they found out that as they were going back to work, they had fear of knee-jerk cost-cutting measures by companies. And that cost-cutting covered 3 different areas. There would be holds on promotions, there would be frozen increases in pay, and they would have indiscriminate layoffs, not based off of anyone's skill or ability. It would just be a whacking. And the other thing they noticed is that managers, executives would save their tail and cut the ranks below. So that ended up with a lot of fear in people going back to work. Now, this then went into that the feeling that these people, or not these people, but people had it with feeling undervalued and unheard of in their work. So the latest trend that's starting to pop up is people's personal safety / beliefs. As we've seen in the news lately, there are talks about making vaccinations mandatory. There are people who do not want to do that. There are people who do not want to go back to work if vaccinations are not mandatory. So there is fear on both sides of the aisle, both sides of the fence, both sides of the spectrum of what going back to work means. So what this does, and then the last thing that I talked about is in the past, when there has been downturns in the economy, businesses, owners, managers, executives kind of had a superior than thou mentality of, you all need to work and you're all going to be crawling back to me to get your jobs back. That's not the case anymore. And I think a lot of that is because of internet-based businesses, and people are reassessing where their value are. So what that all kind of tied up into a bow, what that gives us here at the opportunity of APL Go is there is research out there showing that people are unhappy with their current job and situation. They're fearful of going back to work for various reasons. They're looking for something else to do, something else to provide security. So if we go back to those things I pointed out, the knee-jerk cost-cutting reactions, promotion holds, freezes in income, and indiscriminate layoffs. Well, when you have your own home-based business at APL Go, those 3, gone. No one controls those 3 things but you.
Can you say
No
that
one.
again?
The promotion holds, you're not, that they're not going to do any promotions for cost cutting. They're going to freeze salary increases, or they're going to do indiscriminate layoffs. So when you have your own business, no one controls those. No one controls your promotions. No one controls your increases in salary, and no one controls when you are laid off. All three of those are 100% in your control. People are attracted to that. So again, for the sake of time, what I want to stress to everyone here is there has never been a perfect time or a more perfect time than right now to say, hey, are you interested in learning more about something to give you a sense of financial freedom, personal freedom, family freedom, whatever the case may be, and you can share your own story that, hey, I come across this thing, it's helped me pay a few bills. For some people, that's going to be life-changing. And then when they start to see the opportunity that's there in front of them, they can absolutely make better decisions based off of, the information that they have at hand. So I think, yeah, those are all the notes I wanted to cover, but it's just something that I've noticed here in the corporate world because I've done it. I mean, I made the switch. I went to a job that is what I wanted to do, not what I needed to do. And we're seeing that. And here's the other thing that's happening is as people are jumping, it's creating voids in other areas that's leaving people then having to do more work. So there's just, it's this vicious cycle right now of people not wanting to go back to work for various reasons and do something else. And it's creating a lot of stress in the work market. So we have an opportunity to get people out of that stress and get to doing things that they truly enjoy.
Amazing. So I'm in Ed and Andy's mastermind in Arete, and they said this last night, and I want you to really think about this. Both of them have made their fortunes in these difficult times. Like Ed just invested in 9 companies in the last 2 months. Like the world is crumbling, and he's like, oh, he actually just bought an island. He bought an island with like 100,000 square acres. I mean, just, and Andy Frisella, he made his fortune in 2008 when the rest of the world was crumbling. And so what they said though, is to ask this question, which is a really interesting, big question. And it is, what is the question we should be asking right now that we aren't asking? What is the question we should be asking right now that we aren't asking? And that might be among our teams. That might be, I'm thinking of that question even among prospects. So the way that I may prospect is going to be a little different, right? It's if I notice people on social media that are agitated or grumbling about the situation they're in, I might reach out to them in a different way, right? And maybe even ask questions that I never was asking, like, are you being asked to do things you don't want to do? Are you open now to looking at how to create an income here? Does that make sense? I think the question we should be asking as Team Popstars is, what is the opportunity that is available to us because of the shit show, right? Like, what is the unique opportunity? Because the teams that say, I am going to actually collectively fight against this enemy, and the enemy can be COVID, the enemy could be a thing, but the enemy could be an idea. The enemy here could even be humans are wanting time freedom more than they ever have. And so this enemy is like putting people in a box. Let's fight with people against that and say, I have a way. Does that make sense, everybody? Like, I just think it's such a powerful way to think about things. And they said last night on our call, like our identity, write these 2 words down. Ed said we need to reframe and rename. So that really helped me because my brain in the last couple of months has been like, we're in stagnation, we're in crisis, we're in playing. I felt like I was playing defense. I wasn't on the offense anymore. And I don't do well when I'm not playing on the offense. And he said, so reframe, rename is this idea of like, okay, this is awful. And we have a very unique opportunity. And the renaming is, I'm going to help people during the Great Resignation or whatever, like the renaming, right? And so I want us to chat about that. But I also want us to really think about that right now. I want us to claim our identities as things like this. Our identity is, we are going to be strategic. We are going to be calm. We are going to be emotionally intelligent. Could we possibly be a team that's emotionally intelligent during times like this? You think those kind of leaders are going to rise up? Absolutely. Can we be on the offensive with quiet confidence? Can we be composed? Can we be decisive? And can we accelerate and not retreat? Can that be our identity? And I'm going to be clothing myself with that identity, because this last identity that I've had has not fit me, because it's not meant to fit me. Okay. But that just really helped. And they said last night on our call, don't shelve your visionary project right now. Don't put your vision on a shelf and say, I'm just going to wait and see how this all goes. No, this is the time you take your vision off the shelf and say, I am going. And 2 years from now, we will say, oh, this is why I'm here. Because when the rest of the world was doing that, we took the vision off the shelf. Woo! So, okay, last thought, and then I want to open up. Andy Frisella, he owns First Form, which is a farm supplement company. So he's in the same industry as us. And he said, ask yourself as a business owner, how can you make this be the greatest time in the history of time for your product or industry? And he goes, mine just definitely is, because I'm in the health world. And I'm like, oh, APL Go is too. So I'm going to say this sentence, and I want you to really realize it and like integrate it into your bones. This is the greatest time in the history of time for our product and our opportunity. Through the lens of what Garth and I just talked about, I think you can say that's actually totally true. I'll say it again. This is the greatest time in the history of time for our product, hello, health, and our industry. Hello, we have time, freedom, flexibility. You'll never get fired. You can make as much as you want. No one's going to say you have to get vaccinated. All the things, like all the things. So this is the greatest time in the history of time for our drops and for network marketing. So I would love to open it up for discussion. Thank you, Garth, for sharing. He was our special guest, by the way, if you didn't know.
You know, I'll jump in, Erin. I've really felt this. I think the James calls, and if you haven't watched our team meeting from last Monday night, and previous to that, Travis had James on as well. Both conversations were different enough that you'd find different value, I think, in both those conversations. But he has made me reinvest myself and build my belief that this is this year where we've done very well. I mean, we've done very well, will be our worst. You know, will be our hardest, will be our most challenging, will be our slowest. And yet I'm so proud of it, you know, of what we've done this year. But like you said, with pretty much no tools, you know, we can't today really sign up, trust to send someone to our website and buy product. We can't do that alone today. I mean, we will be in a week probably, but not today. So the fun part is I was explaining to my mom this morning and Cheryl, because I lost a big one today. I lost to someone who I really thought was going to come in at Diamond, really needed a full-time job, you know, really was going to do this, and really well connected up here in Cadillac. I was going to leave her to kind of be in charge, you know, and work with the folks here. And it was tough, you know, but it wasn't emotionally, it didn't make me quit. It made me go in and explain out loud with words why I just collected a decision. It was a tough one to collect. But and so I told Cheryl, you know, what our team culture is doing, especially this month, is just go collect 20 decisions in a month. If you collect those decisions, you're not looking for yeses or nos. You're looking for decisions. You've put people all the way through our system. And she's like, that's brilliant, because you don't have as much emotion attached to a yes or a no. You know, I signed up a new person yesterday. They're not huge, but they could be huge. And they could lead me to someone who's huge, you know, but it's like, it is the right time. to put your head down and reinvest, both in yourself, reflect on how you've run your business thus far. And there's never a better time than September to really set yourself up, right, for the next 5 months. And I think our team I'm just so blessed and so grateful to be a part of what you and Garth have created and what even the US has created. It's the right time with the right product in the right business. It just is. So great. Thank you, Garth, for the language around it, and the research around it. Yeah.
So Joby, I just wanted to add to that of, oh, shoot, I just drew a blank on what I was going to say, but, the collective decision. So many people in our industry think that their job is to sign people up. And that's not. Our job, as Erin coaches on all the time, is to collect a decision.
Yep.
Because the numbers are the numbers are the numbers. Throughout decades of network marketing, the numbers have been consistent in how many people sign up to join your business versus how many people you reach out. It's purely a percentage. It fluctuates maybe half a point, maybe a point, but that's it. If you're not collecting the decisions, statistically speaking, you're not getting the yeses. So our job description is to collect a decision. Now, with what I just shared today, the market has never been more ripe for people to listen to what you have to offer.
The openness, right? The openness. Like
the numbers are going to be the numbers.
This will not happen again, like in this way.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was, what was fun too, Garth, I set up a business meeting. I met this person at the farmer's market. They approached me. I approached them. I met with her and her husband. I mean, I think he was actually more they're looking at 20 hours a week. They were going to run it like a business. They needed something to fill. Then they made the biggest mistake of going and talking to people about it. And I'm like, I know that's the biggest mistake, and you can't stop people from making the biggest mistake. So my answer to her, again, is massively professional. I'm so bummed to not work with you as a business partner right now. I think you would have been great at this. So happy the drops are helping you. And as you give me any referrals, I'm happy to appreciate you with free drops. So big love, because I know she's not out. I know she's out right now. I know that. I mean, that's like belief in my system. And I think that maybe has taken 10 years in the business. But what you two have created and what we are creating as a culture, I mean, heads down, phones up, people. It is the right time. And that's why I say Kristen and Crystal, and I know Yvette, you did another event, getting in front of people and putting drops in mouths. That is the biggest blessing of this business. We can sample. We can give people free stuff, Then they buy stuff, then they get addicted, then they refer and become business associates. It's like it's not even complex. I'm going to shut up. I'm just jacked right now of collecting a decision that didn't go my way. And
funny? It just feels good to collect a decision.
It's a turn in the road of my emotional,
I am collecting a decision. It's personal autonomy. It's I have power over my life. I am doing something. It's like, so good.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Kristen raised her hand.
Kristen has her little hand raised. I love that. She's so professional.
We'll go Kristen and then Linda.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. So I was going to say 2 things real quick. One, I have found lately, like my worst burnout days at my job, my day job, is when I'm sitting on the couch and I'm like, I got to do something for APL Go right now. And like, that's my resurgence. And I had a really, really shitty couple days at my day job. And this morning I officially launched my Facebook VIP page. So first time ever. So I'm glad for that. And then Garth, thank you for this. I've got some talking points noted. This evening, I'm going to a networking event. It's the same group where I met Monica at the beginning of the summer. And I took a leap of faith to introduce myself as an APL Go rep there and not by my day job. And I'm going to try to do the same tonight, but I got some fresh talking points to go into that. So wish me luck, but I thank you for recharging me.
Oh, wow.
Needed it today.
Wow.
That's up. Yeah, you're welcome, Kristen. I'm glad I could help out.
Linda.
Okay, so to clarify, because I'm not real smart with all this business stuff yet, are you saying to collect a decision, you either get a yes or a no. You don't want
Yeah.
them sitting, you don't want them sitting on the fence like I have right now.
Yes, Linda, yes. And so exactly that, yes. And thank you
Okay.
for that question. And so people that ghost us, that's not a decision. We collect in what every month, you know, I just really think if we can all collect 20 decisions a month, yeses and nos, whatever, however many humans we have to go through to collect 20, you're going to probably get 2 people that join your business every month. That's
Okay.
just because 1 out of 10 will join. And yeah, so yes, 20 yeses and nos.
Okay, got
So
it.
Erin, I want to jump in real quick on that ghosting, because this has happened to us. We thought people have ghosted us, but come to find out they put themselves on a 7-day blackout period on social media. So
Yeah, they were
that
like,
could-
thanks for reaching out. I was just so sick and tired of social media that I was out. I'm like, got it. I wish I had taken myself on a social media break. I mean, yeah, got it.
So
Yeah.
ghosting does not necessarily mean ghosting. They literally could have turned themselves off for a week just to give themselves a breather. So
Going back to the pandemic flux syndrome, Ed Milet says there's always these 3 stages of kind of change, and it's stagnation, shakeup, and step forward. And I think I'm feeling in APL Go, so stagnation. I think we're in the shakeup. Like good things are coming again, right? Good things are coming, and then we're going to move forward. We're going to innovate, improve during the shakeup. Am I the only one that was going through pandemic flux syndrome?
No, no. August was pandemic flux syndrome for a lot of people.
It sucked.
August was a pandemic flux syndrome. The whole world went on a lull. I mean,
August was like,
August,
oh.
it sucked. It was like the weirdest freaking,
Okay,
you know, and I mean, now it's not August anymore though. The thing is,
I know.
it's like an emotion, you know, your physical body, you have a physiology that brings stimulus in, stimulus goes through your body, and we choose to hang on to the feeling. If it's a crappy feeling or a defeated feeling, we choose. We can also choose to not have that feeling anymore. We have that ability as humans. It's September. I've told myself, it's September, Joe, get to work. It's not August anymore. August is done in the books, you know?
Yeah.
And I bet you like Erin and Garth, you made more money in August than you made in previous August, even though it was a dip because the whole planet was going through, you know, pandemic flux syndrome. You still did well. You still did well. Most of us still did well. I did better than I should have done because I didn't do jack in my business. I was fluxing.
There's a whole nother
Dr.
concept.
Erin?
Oh, go ahead.
Do you have a second that I just want to share something? First of all, I want to thank everybody who did the Winning Wednesday and put their picture, their testimony, because it held me accountable to do mine at 12:03 last night. But what happened was I was sharing so many of those and I was telling Bruce about them. This morning, he said, my trigger finger has been like not that way in the morning. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, I think those drops are helping my trigger finger and I'm playing guitar better.
Oh.
I was like, what? This does not surprise me.
Right. What? Not surprising.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say, like, these stories that are out there and these folks that are posting their testimonies, man, it's gonna hit big.
It is.
It is. It's really affecting everyone I'm showing, and they're curious. That's all I want to say during this time. They're curious, and if there's any encouragement in that, go forth. Heads
There's
up.
so much encouragement.
Use your phones today.
Collectively, so many people took interest yesterday because of our wave of testimonies. So thank you, Tina D'Angelo, for that great idea. And oh my gosh, thank you, Cindy, for sharing that. Well, we have to end the call now. We have to go hop on corporate director call, but
actually, Erin, they moved it to tomorrow.
okay.
I'm
Anyone
getting
else,
very.
No.
anyone else have thoughts?
I don't know, Cindy, do you still have your hand up or was that from before?
He was able to share while you jumped off and jumped back on, Garth.
Yep.
Oh,
Okay. This is the time to gobble up the marketplace. If you can stay focused, this could be the greatest time in your business. I'll leave you with that. It's just true. This could be the greatest time in your business if you stay focused and
Well,
gobble
and
up the marketplace.
yeah, and I think Erin, I mean, since we have a minute now, it's like if there was stagnation or shakeup, I mean, almost like if August felt like stagnation to anybody, whether it was something your control or you just needed some August time. I told you know, Erin and I talked many times. I'm like, people just need to be outside, and they're afraid. Like, I think what Garth, what you just shared today, is so true. Is because they were afraid to go back. I mean, I have teacher friends who just didn't want to go back to what last year was, and like I shared in the chat, my cousin-in-law walked into school the first day, walked to the principal's office because she had basically a panic attack, and said, I can't do what I did last year. I can't. And she went to the principal's office, 29 years in, 29 years a teacher, and she quit. And they luckily, wonderfully, it is Canada, gave her like a 6-month mental health break. Then she has vacation. I mean, she'll get her 30-year retirement, but she couldn't go back in. And my other two cousins, who are grandmothers, the homeschooling fell on them. And they both said, I'm not doing it this year. I can't do it. I can't do what I did last year. I think, Erin, because we had that surge, like you said,
Yeah.
like, sure, I'll help. And this year we're like, no, that was costly,
Yep.
you know, and we have to do something different. And I think if you had a stagnation in August, it might be kind of cool to say September is right now, I'm going to shake my own self up. I'm going to check what defaults I've jumped into. What have I been saying yes to or no to? What am I doing that isn't moving the dial in a way where I really could in the last 10 days or week of the month, when we're trying to close all these people to help people rank up and cash out? Could we shake up this week? Could you take a look at your systems, your defaults, your hours, committed? Could you shake your own self up so that Monday night, as of a team call, you can step off, and you'll step off to a phenomenal end of month, a new thing we're adding to our culture, month end close. And then you've got October, November, December, January, February, March to reap the fruit of a stagnation, a shake up, and a step forward. Rock and roll.
Love it.
Can I jump in here quick?
Yeah, Pat first. Go ahead, Pat.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, so does anybody else read Prevention? I've been reading it for years. The August issue, because I'm a little behind, talks about go barefoot. One study found that making skin to earth contact for at least 10 minutes may reduce inflammation and pain and increase blood flow. Some experts believe that contact with Earth's natural electromagnetic field helps rebalance our bioelectrical systems to support cellular health. Amen. That was awesome. I read that and I had to share it.
Can you
Awesome.
take a picture of that, Pat, and post it?
Oh,
Yeah,
Sorry,
post it.
Yvette. Yeah, take a picture of that and post it for us. That's great language. Sorry, Yvette.
yes, it was.
Oh,
It
oh,
was.
no, no worries, Joby. That was great, Pat. And I know Cindy, you're gonna jump in, but on that note, Pat, I'd just like to say, whenever my grandson is maybe going through a little tantrum or, can't get himself together, it's like, because we always in the house barefoot. It's just like, I'll just get him and coach him to go outside. And
Yep.
once we get outside and get in the grass or either walk out in the little, they call it the jungle, but the little forest area in the back, it just calms him down and it just puts him in another space, in addition to the brain that he's taking. But it just connecting with the earth is so powerful. And if we could just get back into that.
Yep.
It is,
Absolutely.
yes, yeah.
I agree.
So, Erin, what was that little documentary that we watched with that cute young guy that you and
Zac Efron.
yeah, Zach. See, all I had to say was cute young guy. Which is exactly what I was talking about. So,
Back.
yeah, Zach Efron did a documentary on, I forget what it was. It was on Netflix, but anyways,
Find it, 'cause it's all about health.
yeah, it's actually really cool. I mean, no matter what your mindset is, I really enjoyed it because I went and talked about some science and some engineering of some things in Iceland. But anyways, he was doing it with Laird Hamilton, who's a decades long world-class surfer. And Laird Hamilton talked about how every day he makes it a point to get out and walk barefoot in nature. And anyways, they were doing this long road trip and they hadn't been outside yet. And he said, we got to pull over and I got to walk around. And he convinced Zac Efron to take his shoes off in Iceland and walk around in the grass. And Zac was like, I mean, this whole thing, you're nuts. You're freaking crazy. What are you talking about? And Zac talks about it. He's like, you know what? I actually feel a little calmer. So anyways, it was very cool to see that interaction between the two of them in this documentary. And it is a really good documentary.
I'm going to go step in your grass, Garth Oksol.
Well, make sure you've picked up the backyard first.
Okay.
So I want to say we have Tesla energy biohealing generators and beds here where you can sleep in a bed for $200 a night. And they're here in Milford, Delaware. And like the massage therapist just bought a generator and she got a grant, $20,000 grant for her bed.
Oh my God.
She charges $80 an hour to lay in her bed. It's coming.
You know, this science, these negative ions are a real thing.
It's coming.
Oh gosh, it is. Well, thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you.
We'll see you tonight on Corporate's Overview if you're
Well,
catching.
I
Have a great weekend.
have a good day.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you.